And it occurred to me that with everything going on in the world and with all this stuff that we're dealing with, what I could do is give you some good news. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you some good news. And the good news is this. You, every single person on this planet is absolutely brilliant. You are a unique, creative genius with a particularly special purpose and a passion that you came here to share. You are brilliant. And I'm willing to bet that lots and lots and lots of you out there right now don't agree with that. You don't think so. You know, even if you've looked in the mirror at some point and thought, hey, you're a genius. You maybe haven't looked around every room you've ever been in and thought that everyone in the room with you was absolutely brilliant, regardless of their age, education, occupation, apparent limitations, that they were uniquely brilliant probably isn't the first thing that you think when you walk into the room. Unfortunately, most of us spend more of our time comparing ourselves. We compare ourselves to each other, we contrast ourselves with each other, we compete with each other. We think about, well, that person's not as smart as that person's not as smart as that person. And I can tell you that in 30 years of working with all kinds of people, from CEOs to professional actors to kids with severe disabilities, I have never met a person that wasn't brilliant. I walk into the room expecting brilliance. And one of the things that I do when I walk into a room is I ask people, I'll say, raise your hand if you've ever had to stop and think. And everybody raises their hand. You at home, you can raise your hand or just scratch your head if you're in public and it's going to look funny. But in your mind, raise your hand if you've ever had to stop and think. Everybody always raises their hand because we all do it. We all stop to think. But I'm going to tell you something. No, you didn't. You've never stopped to think. We think faster than we are even capable of recognizing. We think so fast. There are a supposed possible 200,000 thoughts that we have in a day. And it's even agreed upon by the greatest skeptics that we recognize at least 20,000 of those thoughts. Now, I'm not gonna, make too huge a point here, except, isn't it possible that in 20,000 thoughts a day, at least one of those thoughts might be the brilliant one? That you might be brilliant every single day? This brings me to my second favorite metaphor in the entire world, which is a quote from Albert Einstein. He says, everyone is a genius, but if you ask a fish to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. Einstein was a genius, but when he was a child, when he was like 3, 4 years old, his parents called doctors to come and see why this child wasn't speaking. They just saw the outward expression and thought, uh-oh, there's something wrong with him. It never occurred to them that little Albert was really busy thinking about really profound things, and so he didn't have time to talk. And then when he got into school and he was talking and he got later in his schooling, he actually was expelled because he wasn't willing to do what the teachers wanted him to do. And one headmaster said he would never amount to anything. Now, everybody, fortunately for us, we're all happy with the fact that Einstein managed to recognize his own creative genius and share it with us. And everybody, all of you here today, are probably thinking, yeah, but Einstein's genius was special. Einstein's genius was unique. Einstein's genius was profound. It was remarkable. And I don't disagree with you. Yes, absolutely, it was. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying so is yours. And yours, and yours, and yours. Absolutely. It's a given. Einstein's metaphor compares monkeys to fish. And that's what helps us see that it's really ridiculous, that a fish is not going to climb a tree. We know that. So it's ridiculous right off the bat. And we can see how silly that is, and we see through the comparison. Nobody thinks that we are literally going to test fish on their fishness by asking them to climb a tree. We're not going to compare them to monkeys. We're not going to compare camels to monkeys. We're not going to ask a lion to climb a tree even to prove how good a lion it is. Of course that's absurd because nature, nothing in nature competes. Only humans do that. Only humans compete and compare and contrast and make this about comparing ourselves to the other guy and whether or not we're good by their standard. Just look around. Nature is cooperative. Nature works in collaboration with itself, with all the pieces and parts. But humans, we think we know better. When we actually look around and see if everybody's a genius, our evidence that it's not true is that we judge that there are some people that have this skill, this talent. We think that there are some people that are talented and some people are not. Some people are special and some people are not. That there are some people that were born with these great gifts, and so those are the people that are supposed to go out there when there's COVID going on and figure out what to do, and when I'm depressed I go to this person to tell me what they think, and when I need something that person's going to figure it out, and I watch the television and watch how other people are figuring it out. And there are all these other people that are geniuses and special and unique and brilliant, and the rest of us just fill up the backdrop for their lives. We're just kind of the set dressing. But I don't think any of us, when we think about it that way, really believe that. None of us are meant to be the background of someone else's life. We're all meant to be in the forefront of our own life. But we look around and we think, you know, there are some people that the Creator gave gifts to, and then there are the others that the Creator blew it on. Now, there is not a fish on this planet that looks at the other fish and thinks, oh, the Creator really messed up making that fish. Or a monkey that thinks, the Creator blew that one. We do that. Think about it. That's what we're doing. When we assume that one of us is gifted, that implies somebody else isn't. We all are gifted. We all did this on purpose. You know, there's a bumper sticker used to be around when I was a little kid that said, I know I'm special because God don't make no junk. Duh, okay? So whoever that little kid was, they already had it. It's about cooperation. It's about collaboration. It's about giving our gifts, not checking to see if we have any. We do. We absolutely do. I spent my entire life in the theater. I would say my entire adult life, but I started really young. So I spent my entire life in the theater. And in the theater, it's the ultimate collaborative effort. Everybody is collaborating. And that brings me to my first favorite metaphor. Anybody who knows me knows I really love a metaphor, and I really love to extend them, and I really love to play with them. So Einstein's is my second favorite metaphor. This is my first. It's a quote from Shakespeare, and how'd you like it? All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. And that, my friends, is the key to what I call the metaphorical, metaphysical guide to life. I used to think when I was teaching acting classes for years and years and years and teaching improvisation for years and years and years, I would always say, in acting as in life, or hey, students, I'm going to get a little woo-woo now. I'm going to talk about energy. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. In improvisation as in life, in acting as in life, insert wisdom here. And after lots and lots of decades of doing that, it finally occurred to me that it was not just a unique little coincidence or a happy little piece of poetry that Shakespeare had dropped on us. He actually dropped a roadmap for life. Because what occurred to me is that everything that makes a good rule for acting or for improvisation, for a fulfilling work on the stage, actually works in direct relation to a fulfilling work on the great stage of life. I've heard Deepak Chopra recently call this the theater. And I absolutely was bouncing up and down in my chair. We have all heard that we are human beings having a spiritual experience. Well, yeah, we are. No, it's the other way around. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what we're doing. That's it. Both, either, whatever, flip it around. It works both ways. But if we are spiritual beings having a human experience, then that expresses that there's like a duality to it. That there is the soul and there is the human being. And if we look at this as the theater, then this is the actor, this is the player, and this is the character. So what is the content of our character? We're playing a character in a story, and that character has a purpose. That character has a reason for being, and they have gifts and they have characteristics. And what's more, we're not just the player and the character. We're writing the story as we go along. And we write this story one moment at a time. One of my favorite things to teach is improvisation. I spent a lot of time teaching college. After I had taught in conservatories, I moved over to teaching in colleges, and I was shocked, just stunned at how many adults did not want to play. They just wanted to know how to get their A. They didn't want to play. They didn't want to have fun. This is supposed to be fun, you guys. There's a reason why they call it a play. Do that. Have fun. Jump into the game. And the way that I teach people to play at any age is I teach them to improvise. And there are just 3 basic rules of improvisation. If you get these 3 basic rules of improvisation, it can change your entire life. The 3 basic rules are offering, accepting, and blocking. Everything you do in improvisation is one of those 3 things. Newsflash, everything you do in life is one of those 3 things. That's it. Everything you think, do, or say, and everything you encounter and experience is either an offer, the accepting of an offer, or the blocking of an offer. That's it. End of story. And in order for there to be a flowy, beautiful, fun improvisation, we are constantly offering and accepting, and we're not blocking. In improvisation, on the great stage of life, same thing. You know, I talk about a lot of metaphors, but the one thing that is not a metaphor is life is a 24/7 improvisation. That's not a metaphor, that's true. We are improvising in this story that we're creating as we go through it. So here's a little key. When in doubt, when in pain, when in fear, offer. And if you're in doubt, pain, or fear, you're probably blocking. Okay? It's important for us to recognize that we chose this. We're here. We're not only here on purpose, which I love that play on words, on purpose, as in intentionally, but also with a purpose. We are here on purpose, but we're also here now on purpose. As you look around right now. Everyone who's here on the planet in these unprecedented times is here by choice. Your soul stepped into this role, right? You're here on purpose. We're perfectly cast in our role. And like any good actor who is 100% responsible on the stage for all of their choices, all of their offers, we are 100% responsible for our lives. We're 100% responsible for how we experience that. Now, as soon as I say that, people tend to go, well, I'm not to blame for this. Well, you mean that's my fault? Well, I'm not talking about fault or blame. I'm talking about responsibility. You have the ability to respond as you choose. And your response needs to not be a block. It needs to be an offer. In improv, we call that yes and, the magical practice of yes and, that you say yes to whatever it is, accept it, and then you make an offer that comes after the and. I had an experience teaching some kids in a middle school. I did a residency. And I was there in this sort of experimental fashion in this charter school to teach creativity to these 7th and 8th graders who had no idea what this class was that was coming. It was just sprung on them at the beginning of the semester. And suddenly there's me, they'd never seen me before, and I was going to make them do all this weird stuff. And one day, after doing some exercise that made it tough for the cool kids to be really cool, this one little guy, I'm going to call him Sam. This one little guy, Sam, he was like the epitome of the cool kid. Like, this is an 8th grader without a hair out of place, absolutely perfect everything. This kid had it going on. But you could always tell he was holding on. He wanted to be cool. He wanted to be cool. He was comfy when he was on the top, but when he was doing something that made him vulnerable or possibly silly looking, that was not going to cut it. And so we'd done this exercise. Everybody's sitting on the floor. I'm sitting there, and I was saying something quite profound and special, I'm sure. And all of a sudden, Sam throws back his head and goes, "Oh, I'm so bored." And for some reason, without thinking about the fact that this maybe was not kosher in a school setting with 7th and 8th graders, I just turned around and I went, "Honey, if you are bored, that is your soul calling you out. That is 100% on you. Don't you ever be bored in your own life. Make an offer. It's not my responsibility to entertain you, to inform you, to save you, to anything. It's our responsibility together to offer the best that we can to this collaboration." And so I just said to Sam, I'm like, "Make an offer. What's your offer? What do you want?" Which, of course, froze him and terrified him. But then I turned it into a game, and the whole room started offering, and everybody started playing. And nobody ever thought of even mentioning they were bored, possibly out of extreme fear that they too would be called out. But I would say that to you. If you are bored, if you are frustrated, if you are scared, make an offer to your own life. Because you can respond to whatever is boring you, frustrating you, etc., however you choose. So choose, and then throw it out there. The offer only lasts as long as you throw it, and then someone will accept it. They might block it, but then you'll respond to that. There's a lot of work on stage and in life about relationships. And we won't go into the fact that there are 7 types of relationships that you have in the world. We're just going to talk about 2. Your relationship with yourself, and that means self, and your relationship with the universe, the God of your understanding, source, the creator. And there's an interesting fact about blocking and the universe. And it's this: the universe never blocks. The universe never blocks. Anything that happens in life that we think of as an obstacle, a challenge, etc., 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 it's an offer. It's not a block. The universe is not trying to stop you. It is not trying to hurt you. It is not trying to make you pay for something. It is offering you an opportunity to step in and make an offer back. Any obstacle in life, I talk to my clients that are younger, and instead of talking about the stage, I talk to them about gaming. And I said, would you like to actually play a role in a game? If you had the controller, would you want to be playing a character that wasn't doing anything? Would you want to be playing a game that didn't have any obstacles in it? Would you want somebody to come and take your controller away from you and finish the game for you and make it all nice? None of us step into a role and play a character because we want it to all just go. We watch things on television. We play games. We play characters on a stage that have challenges, that have obstacles. That's how we grow. That's how the metaphor of this being the great stage of life and all of us merely players directly relates. You don't have drama on the stage. You don't have something worth staging without an obstacle, without some conflict in there. That's what makes our muscles grow. That's what makes our spiritual muscles grow. Every obstacle is an offer, even COVID. Everything. It's up to us how we respond. You came here to play a character. You came here to take on this role in the great stage of life. And I guarantee that your character was not intended to sit on the couch eating Cheetos, watching the television, watching other people try to deal with the obstacles. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be the one who solves the gigantic dilemma, but you can solve this dilemma. You can look at this other human that is in this production with you and make an offer. You can make an offer into your own life. It's time that we start playing this game like we came here intentionally, because we did. And we came here with a passion, and that passion pulls us toward our purpose and tells us what we're supposed to be doing, what we intended to do, what we meant to do, what we mean to do on a soul level. We each have a passion inside us, and I'm going to challenge you each to think about it. Don't you have something, some passion, something that you wanted to do, that you thought about, or something that, some book you wrote, or some story, or some song, or some idea that you've had that's languishing on a shelf, or you didn't put it out there because what if people thought it was crazy? What if it didn't? Well, yeah. What if I get judged? And so we don't do it. But that passion is your guide to telling you why you stepped into this character. It's not so that you could sit here while other people figured out what would entertain you or what would make you happy. You're here for that. And you're here to make each other happy. You can feel it. You can feel it. Some part of you knows you're brilliant. Just close your eyes for a second wherever you are and take a deep breath and let the first thing that comes to your mind be that thought of what your brilliant passion might be. Some of you are going to know. You're going to know. Some of you are going to be like, I'm not sure. But whatever that first spontaneous thought is, that's a clue. That's a clue. We are here in a time when the world is teeming with conflict and trouble and challenges, etc. But we're also here at this time because we have something to offer to the conflicts and the challenges. Maybe it's just love. Maybe it's unconditional forgiveness. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe you're going to write the perfect song or sing a beautiful song like Lisa did today. You know? If you think you don't have the answer, think again. You don't have maybe the answer, but you have an answer. And we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the world to speak, do, and share what we came here to do. And I'm going to read you just a quote in leaving you, and it's this. It was from Martha Graham to Agnes de Mille. There is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all this time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium. It will be lost. The world will not have it. It's not your business to determine how good it is or how valuable it is or how it compares with other expressions. It's your business to keep yours clearly and directly. Keep your channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and directly aware of the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. We're perfectly cast in this role. So now it's just ours to ignite the fire of our own brilliance and let it shine. Namaste.